Oops. Hi, everyone.
Hello.
So awkward just waiting for them to join the call.
Ugh, you could possibly give me for like 10 minutes. I feel like
everybody. We're just gonna wait for like 2 more minutes and then we'll start. Okay, I think we can begin. Everyone? Okay, I would like to call this meeting to order. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Okay, is Corey here? Okay. Okay. So hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for our first Board of Directors meeting of the 2022-2023 term. I am your president, Marina Gerges, and I am responsible for delivering my remarks and report at the beginning of the board and general meetings for the term. For this meeting, I will be providing a brief summary of our time since taking office, and then we will move on to our approved agenda. First, I think we have to approve the chair. Corey?
Hi, folks. So my name is Corey Scott, he, him pronouns. So I've been asked to put my name forward to serve as your chair for the year. So just so folks know a bit about me and the role of a chair. So the role of your chair is to ensure that your bylaws are being interpreted well, that the meeting is being facilitated with Robert's Rules of Order, and that ultimately you folks are being as efficient as possible and working towards the goals of your members. I always like to say that the role of the chair is not to be invested in the outcome of the decision, but to be invested in the way that we got to that decision. And that's really how I come into it, despite having a lot of opinions of my own. My role here really will be to ensure that you folks have good deliberation and discussion, and that you folks are all able to speak your mind and speak to motions and follow the process laid out by your members as best as possible. My experience is for the past 13 years, I've been working within the student movement. So I facilitated meetings really across the GTA at the University of Toronto, St. George, Mississauga, and Scarborough campuses, the York campus, OCAD University, George Brown, and a few stints in Windsor and Ottawa. I do consider my chairing style a bit more of the bylaws and rules of order junkie. So really making sure that we're following those procedures and making sure that you folks understand why we're following the procedures that we're following. So taking the time that we need to do that and helping you folks sort out your interpretation of your bylaws and your policies as best as possible. I think it's also important that I do disclose that I am a former employee of the Ryerson Students Union. So I did serve a number of years in the equity and campaigns portfolio, as well as the student advocacy coordinator. I did previously also serve as the executive director of the Continuing Education Students Association of X University. I am now working as the Executive Director of Operations for the Canadian Federation of Students, Ontario. But in terms of my role here, again, I am a policy and bylaw junkie. And I heard you folks had a 3-hour presentation of your lawyer. So I'm very familiar with conflicts of interest and ensuring that in my role here that I'm going to be acting on the sole purpose as the speaker of the board, and ensuring that if there is any perceived or actual conflicts, that I declare that to you. But I feel super confident that I'll be able to fulfill those roles and make sure that we're looking after the best interest of the campus. Yeah, so I think that that's a very long description of myself. I'm sorry. And if you folks have any questions, feel free to let me know.
Thank you, Corey. I will now give my president remarks for item number 1. So I would love to stay here and tell everyone that I have been having the time of my life as president, but in the last month, I have been shocked by the lack of processes that exist in this organization. To be fully transparent, We do not have a functioning student union. We uphold bylaws and policies that no one seems to understand, and for reasons such as being too outdated, often contradict each other. At times, I feel as though I am solving a riddle when I should be looking for these documents for straightforward guidance. The reason why I chose to run was because I wanted to help bring transformative change that students would believe in. I am sadly finding out day by day that what I expected from this role is vastly different than what I am experiencing. To be frank, I don't believe the students' interests are at the highest goal in this union. And this is something that is inexcusable and will only change if we work together. I believe that disengagement between the board and students is the core problem of this union. We need to have uncomfortable conversations that will put issues in front of us rather than between us. I will not shy away from this organization's past, as I do not believe we can move forward without addressing it. I am here to fulfill my role as president, which not only includes addressing the past, but building a strong foundation for what is expected of a student union. In terms of the hierarchical structure of this union, the students are at the very top. And internally, the directors are my bosses, the executives report to me, and the staff is here to support and guide us. However, the years of poor direction and extenuating circumstances have left our knowledge of processes and structure ineffective. This has been the most frustrating problem because I know students are the ones that will suffer the most because we are unable to do our jobs. Having said that, I am filled with hope that the board this year, with its scale of diversity and broad spectrum of independent perspectives, will uphold members' interests and by way gain members' trust. This means that the culture at the student union is going to change. But as great as that sounds, I cannot do this alone. I have spent this month learning as much as possible and evaluating the ways in which I need help to create transformative change, which you will hear all my plans in my executive update later on in this meeting. Thank you. And now we will approve the agenda and secretary. Go ahead, Corey.
Sorry, Marina, just before we begin, Vincent's brought up a very good point in the chat, just that we should be doing starting off with the land acknowledgement and just identifying that there is at least an equity statement.
Yes, please do.
Yeah, sure, I can certainly do that. So Toronto and Toronto Metropolitan University are in the District 1 Spoon territory. The District 1 Spoon is a treaty between the Anishinaabe, Mississaugas, and Haudenosaunee that bound them to share the territory and protect the land. Subsequent Indigenous nations and peoples, Europeans, and all newcomers have been this treaty in the spirit of peace, friendship, and respect. So I know that many of us are probably joining from different places. I'm joining from the District 1 Spoon territory. You folks might be joining from different territories. So I'll put in a little link in the chat that you can learn more about the territory and the agreements that you might be residing on. In terms of this motion, Marina, actually, I think it's more important that you facilitate it. Seek a seconder and then discussion and then move to a vote.
For the secretary and agenda?
No, sorry, for the approval of the chair.
Oh, sorry, okay. So whereas the RSU bylaws state the RSU president must appoint a chair of the board as seen below, be it resolved that Corey Scott be appointed chair of the board for the 2022-2023 term. Can I get a seconder?
I'll second it. I'll second, yeah.
Perfect, thank you. Is anyone in opposition of Corey being the chair? Perfect. Corey's the chair.
Thanks, Marina. So I know that there was, and thank you all for having me here. I'm really excited in the year ahead of us for all the things that you folks want to do and achieve. So I know that we did a few prep sessions just in terms of what Robert's Rules of Order are and how they should be used. I'll say that I don't love online meetings, as many of you probably don't love online meetings as well. The way that we're going to try to conduct votes is going to be what Marina just did, which is asking if there's any opposition. And that's going to save us a lot of time because a lot of the items that you'll typically have are consensus-based items. So you're voting to ratify aspects of the motions that you have. So we'll always ask if there's any calls for opposition. And if there's a significant amount of calls for opposition, what we'll do is we'll actually redo that entire vote, and we'll do it in accordance with the way that Robert's rules should be done very formally, which is asking for all those in favor, all those opposed, and any abstentions. This is just typically how a lot of the boards that I've been working with have operated during the pandemic, just because it is so confusing for folks who are coming in from their phones or from spotty Wi-Fi to be able to raise those hand features. We will use the raise hand feature for this, so please use that, and then I'll ask one of the administrators to lower hands if we get into that. If anyone does have any questions about Robert's Rules of Order, I'll drop my email in the chat afterwards. And I know that the executive have the presentation that I gave that you folks can always review, as well as a little Robert's Rules of Order at a glance in terms of some of the things that you can do. I'm going to ask that as we go through this meeting, folks try to use the chat as little as possible. Use the chat if you want to like second something or something that I would be able to read out, or if you want to get on the speakers list, feel free to use the chat in that function. But don't put any kind of commentary in there, because it makes it harder for your minute taker to record that conversation and for your members to see it if they're joining us from YouTube. I think that those are most of the housekeeping items that I wanted to go through. And we'll, like really, Robert's Rules of Order, we learn as we go and ask questions. If you do have a question, just put yourself on the speakers list, either in the chat, raise your hand. I'll identify you and just ask the question. Even if you don't know if it's a point of order or a point of information, we'll learn as we go. Make sense? Perfect. Okay, so we're now into item number 3, which is the approval of the secretary and agenda. So we have 2 motions here. So the first one is, be it resolved that Rihanna Maharaj be appointed as the recording secretary for the May 26th meeting of the board of directors. I do need a seconder for this.
I'll second this one.
Okay, thank you, Omar. And I understand that there's going to be an amendment to this. Is that correct?
No, Corey. So
No?
there was originally going to be an amendment to remove the SBC card proposal, but I already moved it. So
Okay, sorry. So we're on the recording secretary piece. So.
oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. So the internal coordinator, instead of Rihanna, will be taking the meeting minutes.
Okay, great. So I do have a motion to amend. Fantastic from Marina. Thank you. I do need a seconder for that amendment.
I can
I'll
second.
second.
Okay, Solar for that. Marina, did you want to motivate your amendment?
As per their job duties, the internal coordinator is set in their job description that they are supposed to be taking meeting minutes.
Yes, Marina. Is there any discussion on the amendment? Okay, so seeing none, we'll move to a vote. So this is a vote to amend from Rihanna to Bassett. And let me know if I'm pronouncing anyone's names wrong. But is there any opposition to this amendment as presented? Okay, so that will carry. So we're now back onto the main motion as amended. It will read, be it resolved that Bassett or Rahman be appointed recording secretary for the May 26th meeting of the board of directors. So that is the amended motion. Is there any discussion before we move to a vote? Okay, is there any opposed to this motion as amended? So seeing none, that carries. Okay, so we're now on to motion B3. So be it resolved that the agenda be accepted as presented. I have a mover for this. I do need a seconder.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Gus. Okay, is there any discussion on the agenda as presented? Okay, not seeing any. So we'll move to a vote. Is there any opposition to the agenda as presented? Okay, so that carries. So we're moving along quite well. And we're into committee elections. So we do have an initial motion before A here. And then we actually have the motions to appoint committee members, and I'll lay out that process once we get there, but we'll start with motion B4A. So be it resolved that the seats allocated to the Graduate Council for Finance Committee and Events and Entertainment Committee be redistributed to the Board of Directors. So this is moved by Marina. I do need a seconder for it.
I'll second that.
Yes, thank you. Okay, Marina, do you want to motivate this?
Yes, so despite the urgent need to address many concerns in the union, I do feel that the board members need more time to assess their interests and their level of commitments when choosing the committees that they will eventually join. The committees are extremely important.
Marina. So I'm just, the motion that we're on right now is just around the redistribution of the graduate seats.
Okay, I'll hold off,
Yeah.
sorry.
Thank you. So if you want to motivate why we're reallocating the graduate seats.
Yes.
Versus...
Yes, so the graduate seat, the graduates made their own union and they broke off from the union at TMU. So it would only be right to redistribute the seats and allow as much effort in the committees as possible.
Thank you. We'll definitely get to hear your motivation for the other items when we get to that next. Is there any discussions about this amendment? Seeing none, we can move to a vote. Is there any opposition to the amendment to redistribute the graduate seats? Okay, so seeing none, that carries. So we're now on to the item actually around the committee members. So this will be interesting. So I'll let Marina explain the committees that do exist, and then I'll go into the voting procedure afterwards and how we'll nominate folks for that. Go for it, Marina.
So right now we do have 11 committees. I am planning on creating a few ad hoc ones, such as a equity centers groups committee that will oversee all equity centers. And as I was saying before, the committees are extremely important because they will take lead on many of the union's large and long-term projects. We will be having another board meeting in about 2 to 3 weeks to finalize the committees. And by then, I would hope that board members have ideas for the committees they'd like to join. So we can just get to it.
Thanks, Marina. Okay, so what we're going to do for these committees, so we have 3 committees that you folks will be appointing people for. So there's the Finance Committee, Bursary Committee, and Events and Entertainment Committee. And then within the Events and Entertainment Committee, you folks will also be appointing a commissioner amongst the people elected. So the way that we're going to do this is I'm going to seek nominations. So people can nominate themselves or they can nominate someone else to sit on the committee. We'll go through all the nominations. I'll do 3 calls for nominations each time. Then we'll close that nominations. Then I'm going to confirm that everyone who's nominated actually wants to be nominated. You folks will have, let's say, a minute to advocate for yourself why you want to be on that committee if there is an election or a contest for those seats. And then we'll go to a vote via Google form, which I'll send out to you folks. And then for accountability purposes, I will present the outcomes of those, but I won't be presenting who voted for who. So it will be, for all intents and purposes, a secret ballot. At the conclusion of all the elections, we ratify. When we're ratifying, we're basically saying that the process was followed to the best of possibilities. And we'll do a vote to destroy the ballots, which is a very common thing to do. So that will mean that I'm going to delete what was on those forms so that, you know, if my account ever gets hacked, it doesn't get leaked out to people. So that's typically how we'll do this and transfer it to a digital system. And just wanted to lay out that process for you folks. Is there any questions about the process before we get into it? Okay, so we're going to go into the Finance Committee first. So the Finance Committee, you are electing, sorry, I'm just wondering if I missed something. The agenda. No, never mind. So The finance committee is made up of 3 board members. You cannot be an ex officio member if you're sitting on this committee. And you also cannot be a commissioner if you're sitting on this committee. So there are commissioner seats that do come up. Now you folks will get a bit of a training in terms of all those things. So if some of the committees end up changing by the next time that you do everything, we can look at that. But at this point, the restrictions for finance committee is around that you can't be ex officio and you can't be a commissioner. Umar.
Yeah, hey, I had a question. So for the committee elections, the voting process, I understood that, but you'll be the only person who sees the results.
So what I'll do is I'll be sharing the results. So I'll share what the ultimate vote is, but I won't be sharing who voted for who. There is a backend system that I can check to make sure that that folks aren't double voting. There's also some protections that have been set up, but there really is no way to conduct a digital vote without purchasing a type of software that really provides that full level of confidentiality. So I'm in many ways asking folks to trust that I won't be sharing that information and that I'll be doing that in complete confidence.
Oh, that's okay. I was just making sure because only you will see the results.
So everyone will get to see the results of the ultimate votes. So I'll present those votes. So how many people have been voted, or how many votes have gone to specific candidates. So you folks will see that component.
But we won't be able to see who voted for who. Only you will have that information.
You won't be able to see that. Only I will.
Okay. Okay. Can we make that anonymous?
The difficulty with making it anonymous is that it then allows the possibility of a multiple voter, multiple people voting from this. So like we tried a couple of things. I do have recommendations when we come to the next meeting to do something like a quick account with Election Buddy or with even Lime Survey around creating certificates and codes. But at this point, my understanding of this is how folks have been doing it for the past number of years, and it certainly can be approved. But in time for this meeting, we trialed and errored a few processes.
Okay, that sounds good. Hopefully we can have the next one in person then.
That would be lovely.
Yeah, then that'll make it much simpler. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks for those questions. Those are great questions for everyone to know the answers for. Okay, so the first committee that we have again is Finance Committee. So I'm going to be, I will read out the description of this committee that was provided in your package. The Finance Committee meets very often during the budget creation process to work on the budget, and then meets on a monthly basis to make sure the budget is being followed throughout the year. So pretty basic stuff. I'm going to copy this link so I can send it to you folks as soon as we begin. Is there anyone who wants to nominate to this committee? Okay, success. And please unmute to just say if you're nominating yourself or if you're nominating someone else. So success, are you nominating yourself or someone else?
I'm nominating myself.
Thank you. Sahil?
Yeah, I would like to nominate myself too.
Perfect. Alicia?
I'm also nominating myself.
Great, thank you. Angie?
Hello, I'm also nominating myself.
Great, thank you. And Aman?
Yeah, I'd be nominating myself as well.
Fantastic. So now I'm going to go and ask if there's any final people who want to nominate themselves or others. Going once, going twice, and going 3 times. So the nominations are now closed. Everyone can lower their hands. And because you all nominate yourself, I assume that you are all accepting those nominations. If anyone does want to remove themselves from that nomination, now's the time. Okay, so seeing none. Now what I have to do on the back end, and I ask for some patience, is I just have to go in and type all of your names into this form. Just double checking the spelling of everyone's names. Perfect. Okay, so and at this point, we'll have you can have up to a minute to give a bit of a nomination for yourself and why you're interested in the position. Don't feel like you need to take up the full minute though. So we'll start from the beginning with Success.
Right, so I'm nominating myself for this committee because this is part of the reason why I decided to run for RSU, so I can, look at all the previous things that has happened with our finance and help move it forward in a proper way. And I have worked with finance in multiple nonprofit organizations, so I do think I'm well equipped and I know what I'm doing. Yeah.
Thank you, Success. Sahil?
Hello, everybody. So the reason being I'm nominating myself due to certain reasons. First of all, I would like to mention about my academic program. I am currently pursuing a finance major at Ryerson University, renaming Toronto Metropolitan University. So considering that, I have the knowledge about the terminologies and the transactions that are going to be involved in making the budgeting process. And besides that, if I talk about my experiences, I have previously served as a director of finance and vice president of, and currently serving as a vice president of finance in multiple student groups. I have the plenty of experience about making budgets, handling reimbursement process, and also carrying out cash transactions. And on top of that, I am also a co-op student, and I have been recently granted an internship in one of the finance departments. So considering my experiences and my academic background, I believe that I have the knowledge and experiences that meet the central criteria of the job requirements that the finance committee will bring in. So that's why I think I'm the ideal candidate for this position. Thank you.
Right on the minute. Thanks, Sahil. So we have Alicia next.
Hi, everyone. I would like to be involved in the finance committee because I want to be directly involved in overseeing a proper allocation of financial resources and also be involved in the work of transparency around the process. And I believe it is my duty as a director to step in and assist in ensuring that our spendings align with our union goals and values. Thank you.
Thank you. And we have Angie next.
Hi, everyone. So I took a look at all the other committees, and I think this is one of the ones where my skills would be best put to use. So I do have previous experience preparing budgets, and not just for student groups, I've done that as well, but I've also helped prepare budgets for example, the Department of Parks and Recreation here at the university, particularly during orientation week. So I've just been reflecting on my abilities and skills and kind of seeing where they would benefit the union the most. I also do think that as an organization, we do need some transparency when it comes to where we direct our money. And I would like to be part of the committee that ensures that our money is being directed where it should be and that our promises are upheld. Thank you.
Thank you. And finally, we have Ivan.
Thank you so much. I think out of all the candidates, I might not have the best resume, but one thing I do have is heart. One thing I want to at least move forward with the finance committee is build. Of course, we do build transparency, but also build a sense of trust. And already work, and I think working with someone like Sahil, who's already part of the TRSM directive, will also already, because we're in the TRSM directive together, this could also help us kind of improve our relationship in the finance committee as well. I was a part of the finance. I was a part of the finance sectors in student groups. I was advised, but I never made the decision at the same time. But one thing that I will bring is a sense of transparency and also one sense of trust in the ability to actually hold the budgets in general. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So those are our 5 candidates that we have. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to post in the chat a Google link. So folks should be able to access that. I'll give a minute to vote. If anyone is having any connection issues, please let me know right away. But I think that this should be simple enough, hopefully. And I shouldn't be saying, I should remember to say you can only click 3 names. If you click more than 3 names, it will spoil the ballot and I'll have to remove that from the presentation. But I'll make sure that is noted. So we have 10 more seconds to vote. Okay, so we'll call that for the voting period. I do see a hand raised before I share my screen. Yep, Shireen.
Yeah, I just want to let you know that I voted with my Ryerson account, not the RSU account, if that's okay.
Yep, that should be fine. Great. So let's see how this works. And hopefully I'm able to share my screen. Okay, I'll just ask one of the hosts to allow me to share the screen and I'll show you the results.
Okay, try it now, Corey. Yeah.
Thank you. I'll try not to share my Spotify account. Great. So you folks can see that we've received 22 responses. I'll refresh that just in case any last ones came in. 22 responses. They are all board members that are on here. So thank you for anyone joining us remotely for not voting if you aren't allowed. So we see that the 3 names that are put forward is Success, Alicia, and Angie. So those will be the 3 names that we'll put forward for ratification. Thank you. Okay, so we're going to now move forward to the bursary committee. So the bursary committee, we are seeking 2 nominations or 2 candidates to fill it. Let me go and give you a description about what the bursary committee does. So it meets to give out funds that the board has allocated to any RSU bursary program, from the emergency grant, bursary to the career development grant. So I'll seek anyone who wants to nominate themselves to this committee or nominate someone else. Okay, so we'll start with Waleed.
I'd like to nominate myself.
Fantastic. Success.
I will be nominating myself.
Success, thank you. Angie.
Hi, it's me again. I'm also going to nominate myself.
Great, thank you. So those are the 3 hands that I've seen. I'll do a last call. So going once, going twice, going 3 times. So we have 3 nominations. As they're all self-nominations, I'm going to assume that you accept those, but if there's anyone who does want to remove their name at this point, please do so now. So not hearing that intent, we'll go to an opportunity for people to motivate their nominations. So we'll start with Waleed.
So hi, I'm Waleed. I'll be a good fit for this committee because I think I work hard and I pay close attention to detail. As an engineering student, I feel like this is the way we're wired to function. So this will help me with like the long hours of reviewing applications and making sure every application is dealt with fairness. I also personally understand the importance of these bursary applications, as I know being a student is tough, like having to balance jobs, school, work, and like personal relationships, and understanding this allows me to be more committed to the work we do at the bursary committee. So I look forward to the opportunity being able to run for it. Thank you.
Thank you, Waleed. We have Success next.
Okay, so I'm running for this committee because I think it goes hand in hand with the finance committee. So being on the finance committee, you can help the preparations for the bursaries and also like be able to tell the students when they can expect their certain bursaries. So I think being on both committees is a good fit for me, and I want to be able to help the students in any way I can, and I think this is the way to do it.
Thank you, Success. And we have Angie.
All right, hello everyone. So my reasoning for nominating myself for this committee also aligns with the finance committee, but particularly I think that when students rely on us to provide financial relief in a timely manner, that's definitely not something to be taken lightly. And so I want to be part of this committee to ensure that our money is being directed where it should be and done so very, very importantly in a timely, organized, and transparent manner as well. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you for all of your motivations. So we'll now go into a vote, and again, you'll have a minute to cast your ballots. Don't select more than 2 candidates, or the ballot will be voided. We'll give about 10 more seconds. So I'm going to share the results. Okay. So as folks can see, it was all board members that cast their ballots, no additional names on there. And the 2 successful candidates is Success and Angie. Okay, so thank you. So we'll put those names in for ratification. And we're moving on to the final committee now, which is for the Events and Entertainment Committee. So the Events and Entertainment Committee, I will read it out. This is going to be one of those confusing ones because there's actually going to be 2 votes that come with this. So the Events and Entertainment Committee is responsible. I'm on the wrong form. So the committee meets to plan RSU events that are open to all or most students on campus. So you'll be electing 4 board members to this, and then from amongst those 4 board members, we'll do a second vote, which will appoint one of them as the commissioner. So if you want to be the Events and Entertainment Commissioner, you'll want to be one of these 4 board members appointed to the committee. Does that make sense? Fantastic. So I'll seek anyone who wants to nominate them. Sorry, I will also say that if you don't get nominated to this committee, it is an open committee, so you can still participate in it. So it's one of those great open committees where you won't be turned away. You just won't be officially appointed to it as a quorum member. Okay, so I'm seeing Olivia. You wanted to just confirm?
Yes, hi. I would like to nominate myself for this committee.
Thank you. Gabriella?
I would also like to nominate myself.
Thank you. April?
Yep, I'd like to nominate myself.
Thank you. Dahlia?
I would also like to nominate myself.
Fantastic. Aman?
I'd like to nominate myself.
Thank you. Kushil?
I'd like to nominate myself.
Thank you. And Vincent?
I would also like to nominate myself.
Fantastic. Thank you all. So I'm going to just ask for last round if anyone else wants to nominate themselves. Going once, going twice, going 3 times, so nominations are closed. I assume because those are all self-nominations, that you folks are cool with that, but if there's anyone who wanted to remove their name at this point. Okay, so seeing none, we'll go to motivation. So we'll start with Olivia.
Hi, everyone. As you know, my name is Olivia. I'm international student representative, and I want to be part of this committee because I do have a lot of experience working with events and entertainment. In my high school, I was the event planner for all the events we would host. Currently, in university, I have worked with some student groups to plan events like the African Student Union and so many different things. And I feel like my personality matches well with the role, as I do work really well with the events and I have a lot of experience with it. Thank you.
Thank you, Olivia. We'll move on to Gabriella.
Hi, everyone. I really want to be a part of this committee. I'm an individual who is super duper passionate about the mental health and the well-being of our students. And I think there's a lot of really cool events and ideas that we can plan surrounding that. Because, you know, the primary goal as a student union, as Marina said previously, is, you know, the needs of our students. And I think we can create some really amazing events surrounding that. I'm very good at planning events. I love that kind of stuff. It's something I'm very passionate about. So I think I'd be a good addition to the team. And yeah, I work for I help out with the Instagram, and yeah, that's all.
Thanks, Gabriella. We'll move on to April.
Okay, I nominated myself because I'm also very passionate about events. I've been planning like large scale events since high school. For my high school, I would run like the biggest events of the year, and like I would communicate with vendors and get all these things set up. So I've experience doing that. And I also just want to be a part of planning events that students want to see. I'm also a residence advisor, so I have experience planning events from that. Also in student groups, planning events. So it's just something that I really enjoy doing and I want to be a part of.
Thank you, April. Dahlia?
Hi guys. So the reason why I would like to be part of the events committee is because I believe I can bring a very diverse and creative approach to our events. As a school, we know we have a lot of diversity in our school, and I feel like one thing we really need to work on is expanding our community and helping with student participation, because I feel like sometimes we have 40,000 students, but our participation isn't even half of that. And I really believe that as one of the people on the events committee that I can really boost that. And I'm also a very sociable person. I've volunteered with a lot of events. I literally have done a lot of that stuff. And I'm also one of the people who run the Instagram. So I really believe my personality is extremely fit for this position. And I would just like to bring people out of their shell. And yeah.
Dahlia? Aman?
Good afternoon. The reason why I think I would be good for the events committee in general is because growing up, I've only seen both my parents just take charge of all events, all entertainment, and helping them just gave me just an idea over how the situation actually goes on. I was recently the events associate for To Thrive, which is a part of Inactives, which kind of organizes events for local Toronto artists, and we're supporting them by giving them business knowledge in general. And this is something that I kind of grew up with since a child as well. And I personally feel I would be the right candidate because not only am I sociable, but at the same time I can think on the spot as well, and I can also manage my time quite well. So that's the reason why I feel I would be a good candidate.
Thanks, Aman. So we have Kushil next.
Hi. So in my last 2 years of high school, I was in the IB program where I participated and organized a lot of different events as well. So we did everything from Model United Nations, TED Ed, fashion shows, music shows, and I was a part of the process from finding and maintaining relations with sponsors and vendors and emceeing some of the shows, and then making sure all of the proceeds went to donations and everything. And I just love creating relations and maintaining them so that we can create new opportunities and events for all of the students. And I think I'd really love to implement that kind of thinking and work ethic into the team that we build.
Thank you. And finally, we have Vincent.
Hey guys, so I'm super interested in this position on the events committee. Ever since high school, I've been super passionate about organizing events. I was the lead events organizer for student council in high school for about 3 years. I have a lot of experience with working with different charities. Relay for Life, for instance, I helped organize that many years. Any kind of rallies that we had, various different festivals, stuff like that. So I'm all about having fun, and I think that it's the most important thing that we can have at this school. In terms of getting mental health back to where it should be, I know that COVID put a big stain on a lot of everything we were doing before, and I'm hoping that we can really revamp, get everything back to the level we were at before, have concerts, have festivals, have lots of events and games, get students involved again. And yeah, that's just what I'm all about. I'm constantly planning things for various different clubs and student groups that I'm in right now. And yeah, this is something I'm super passionate about. So
Thank you all for all of your motivations. So we'll now move on to a vote. So remember that you can vote for no more than 4 candidates. If you do, as I said before, I'll have to remove that from the final tally. But yeah, so we'll go to that vote. The link is active now, and you have a minute. So about 10 seconds left. Close that off. And then I'll go and share my screen. So you'll see that there are 21 responses. Again, they are all board members, no duplicates. And out of the results that we have, so move down all the way. So we have Gabriella, April, Olivia, and then we have a tie between Dahlia and Aman. So I did not calculate how we deal with a tie. So let me, I guess, set up a new form. And we'll have to do a runoff vote. Give me 1 second. Sorry for the delay. So you'll have an opportunity to vote for one of the individuals on here. That's live for the next minute. So giving you folks 10 more seconds. So that will be closed. Just figure out where presentation is. Sorry. So I've received 20 responses. And you can see all the board member names, no repeats. And the ultimate decision was a tie. Okay. So I see a question from Salar. Salar, it's or a raised hand.
Is it possible to get both of the directors? Because I don't know. Is it possible?
Mm-hmm. So your
I'm just
bylaws,
asking a question. I'm just asking a question. If everybody's okay with it, then that's fine.
Yeah, I think that that's a super fair question. I do know that not everyone has voted. So, okay, so I could redo the vote again. But that's a good point, Solar. It would require like a little bit of overriding the bylaws to do that, which I, generally would avoid wanting to do. So what I'll do is if anyone hasn't voted, please cast your ballots. It's not just the person who's in the chat who didn't vote. There have been more voters for some of the other ones. So it's not just Vincent making this decision. So please cast those ballots. I see. Sorry. So usually when we're casting ballots,
you're still sharing your
I'm still
screen?
sharing. Sorry, I should not be showing that. Apologize. Okay, so runoff. So yeah, so please cast your ballots if you haven't already done that. If you are running, you can also cast your ballot if that's the reason that you haven't been casting your ballot. I'm not seeing any new responses.
Do we use the same form?
Yeah, so you can use I could create a new form, but I'm going to encourage us to use the same form. And I'm going to give 10 more seconds if there's anyone else.
We don't fill it out if we already filled it out, right?
You don't, and I don't think you can, even if
you
you want to. Great. Okay, so let's go through. So we have received additional votes. And I'll go into that presentation to see who it was. Okay, so again, we have 21 responses. So the majority has voted for Dahlia. So that will be the name that is inserted. So thank you for going through that process, folks. So we're now on to appointing a commissioner from amongst the 4 people elected. So as we recall, the 4 people elected were, just go and find that form. The 4 people elected were Olivia, Gabriella, April, and Dahlia. So I'm going to, if folks wanted to give a motivation again, you can. If you don't want to, it's fine. You can just, you've already motivated for yourself, but I do need some time just to input the names. So we'll start with Olivia.
Okay, hi everyone. So just to reiterate what I said, I do have a lot of experience with events. My mom is an event planner, so I've worked very closely with her on big scale events back at home. And I feel like international student representative will also be really nice to like get the international student body more involved, because when I first came, I didn't really feel involved, but I would like everybody to feel welcomed. Hello, can you guys hear me? Okay, I would like everybody to feel welcomed. I like everybody to feel comfortable to like come for events. And I'm a very social person. So, and I'm also a very creative person. So I feel like I can bring so many different ideas. Also coming like from Nigeria, like I feel like there are a lot of different things that we do that I can bring to the table that also like makes it pop. And I've also worked very closely with the VP of Student Life and Events, planning events before. So it will also like just help to make buttress things and just make things better. Thank you.
Thank you, Olivia. I'll also mention if folks don't want to put their name forward for the commissioner, you can also say that you don't want to be the commissioner and I can remove you from the poll. So next we have Gabriella.
Sorry, it took me a long time to find the unmute button for some reason. I just want to maybe give out some ideas on like what I would do if I was in this position, like some events that I might consider planning. So as I said earlier, I'm very passionate about mental health. So I wrote down some ideas. Puppy yoga is a big one. Meditation classes, self-care kits, because I received one of those this year and it was like the best thing I've ever gotten. Crafts like mood boards and paint nights, because those are really fun. Outdoor stress reduction events. And another thing that I really enjoyed that the Student Union did this year is something that I want to implement is free menstrual products and having those accessible events where we can give them out to students and teach them and inform them on those types of things. So yeah, those are some of my ideas.
Thank you, Gabriella. So we have Dahlia next.
Okay, so just to reiterate, not only have I always been really involved in groups, I'm actually a part of a few groups. So there's BFT, which is Beirut Families in Toronto, and then there's also CLMS, Canadian Lebanese, in Canada. And then my mom has always been super involved in events, so I really did take that from her. And for me, I feel like to reiterate back onto the diversity, I feel like one thing I'd really want to do for the school is do some culture nights and where we all really get to appreciate each other's cultures and also dances and everything. You know, I'm from Mississauga, so Karasaga is a really big thing here. And I was at Karasaga on the weekend and just seeing all these cultures and how we can all come together, it really made me want to bring that to our university and show it all these other people and maybe all these newcomers who will be coming to our school hopefully in the future, how we are different and how we are extremely diverse and how we are all like, you know, yeah. That's really it. So yeah.
Thanks, Dahlia. And finally, we have April.
Okay, so just to say again, I'm very passionate about events. I have a lot of ideas that I would want to see happen this year, and I just really want to be a part of making that happen. I'm a TRSM director, so being like a business management student, I have like ideas for, because like I was a first year this past year and I didn't know a lot about like the events that were happening and things that were going on, and I feel like that's like an important thing. If we're running events and like putting money into events, students should know about them and like so that we can get more engagement. So I'm one of the people who are running the Instagram as well, and I just really want to like put the events out there a lot so that we get lots of engagement. That's yeah.
So thank you to all four of the candidates putting their name forward for commissioners. So I'm going to put it in the chat now. This is a multiple choice, so only select one in that process. Folks have a minute to do that. Folks have about 10 seconds left. So I'm going to go and share my screen. So we'll see that no duplicates of votes. And again, they're all board members. And Gabriella has been nominated. Let me just make sure there was no final. Oh, there's 22 responses. So good thing I came back. So the results are for Gabriella as the commissioner. So we have over appointments for the 3 committees. So you folks can imagine how intense this is going to be in our next board meeting when we have many more committees. And hopefully we'll have a bit of a cleared up process then. But what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be seeking someone to second the ratifications that we have. So the finance committee will be made up of Success, Alicia, and Angie. The bursary committee will be made up of Success and Angie. The events and entertainment committee will be made up of Olivia, Gabriella, Dahlia, and April, with Gabriella as the chair, as the commissioner. So I need a seconder for that.
I'll second that.
Okay, I heard a bunch of names there. If you could raise a hand, that also works. So I didn't actually catch. I'm on, thank you. Perfect. Is there any opposition to ratifying the decisions that we've made? Okay, so seeing none, that will carry. I'm now going to ask for a motion to destroy the ballots. So requesting that I delete the ballots that we have on the back end here. So I need a mover and a seconder to do that.
Motion to destroy the ballots.
Yes. Rena, thank you. I need
I
a seconder.
second.
Seconded by Shireen, thank you. Okay, is there any opposition to destroying the ballots? Fantastic. So I'm going to destroy those at the conclusion of this meeting, just so you folks don't have to wait on me doing that. So we're now on to item number 5, the ex officio directors and ratifications. So you folks have a number of different directors that are appointed to your board by virtue of being elected in other places. So right now, there is just a motion. There's a motion be it resolved that blank be confirmed as a residence representative for the term May 2022 to April 2023. Marina, you're moving this. Do we have a name to fill in for this?
I reached out to him, but he believes that it should go through housing, and I don't know if he understands the process. So we will not be ratifying the residence representative today.
Okay, so can I then seek a motion to table this motion? So I need a mover and a seconder for that. Ozzy, thank you, and seconded by Sheree. So tabling essentially means that we're just moving it to the next available meeting that we'll be able to vote for it. Not saying that we're not going to address it, we're just not able to address it. Okay, is there any discussion on tabling? Seeing none, is there any opposition to tabling? Fantastic, so that will carry. So we're then moving on to motion B7, which is be it resolved that Joel be confirmed as the Board of Governors representative for the term May 2022 to April 2023 year. This is moved by Marina. I do need a seconder. Oh, sorry, did I just see a hand go up? Oh yeah, thank you. Awesome. So I'm going to get Marina to move this and then we can go to discussion. So Marina, did you have any motivation?
For Joel, ratification?
Or just for the ratification in general?
Yes, so I have discovered that there are various vacancies and unaccounted positions on the board due to the failure of the previous executives and the CRO.
So Marina, right now we're just talking about the Board of Governors representatives.
Oh, okay. I just want to talk about this motion in general and talk about why I'm not choosing the rest. Okay, I'll wait.
Okay, so yeah, let's just focus on Joel, but then we can come back and have that minuted in terms of what the plan is for the future positions.
Oh, yeah.
Was there any motivation for appointing Joel to this position?
So as per the BOG elections, and I've reached out to all of the BOG representatives, student representatives, and it has been decided that Joel was voted on.
I saw that there was a hand raise. Was that to also speak to this motion?
That was me. I was seconding the motion as well.
Oh, you're seconding the motion. Okay, great, thank you. So is there any discussion about appointing Joel to the board as the Board of Governors representative? Okay, so seeing none, we'll move to the ratification of that decision. So any opposition? Seeing none, that will carry. Marina, if you want to talk about how the remainder of these ex officio seats will be filled.
Yep. So as I was saying, there are multiple vacancies and unaccounted positions on the board right now. So the Senate, course union, and student group directors were supposed to have elections in April of last year. So having witnessed the years of neglect of the student groups, course unions, and their communities have faced firsthand, I will personally be conducting an application and interview process for each available director position with VP Student Life, Aussie. Yep. This is to ensure these groups and communities have the support that they need, and Aussie and I have plans to communicate directly with all of the eligible candidates. Thank you.
Thank you for that update, Marina. Is there any questions or discussion? Okay, so seeing none, we're then going to move on to item number 6, executive roadmaps and reports. So this is a 2 to 3 minute presentation of your priorities and plans for the year. So we'll just go in the order that's listed here, but feel free to shake it up, execs, if you want to change up the order. We'll start with the president.
Okay, perfect. So having had the time to assess what type of assistance is required to run a students' union, and due to the backlog in administrative work and lack of processes, additional staff will be brought on to address various issues. Firstly, an HR coordinator will be brought on to help address potential problems if they come up between individuals. For the past few years, in addition to her vast level of responsibilities, the executive director has overseen staff. However, I believe this role needs to be separate from management so that an unbiased evaluation can take place. This is not a radical change, as the union did, in fact, have an HR coordinator in place a few years ago. The nature of this job requires someone who has years of training and can devote themselves fully to addressing serious interpersonal problems. And honestly, I don't believe that untrained students who are elected as executives or president should be in charge of such sensitive matters, such as personal resources, human resources, as I believe this position requires a lot of training. Secondly, a part-time executive assistant will be brought in to help address our administrative inefficiencies. Their job will be to help the president evaluate and prioritize issues of concern, coordinate administrative tasks between all board members, prepare documents for board meetings, and help with any other administrative tasks as needed. Thirdly, a consulting firm specializing in nonprofit organizations will take lead on outlining a plan to revamp and rebuild our union now and for years to come. We can really benefit from professional advice and objective guidance on how a nonprofit member-based organization should be run. This will address our ineffective processes, lack of student-oriented goals, and the tarnished culture of this union. Fourthly, an accounting firm specializing in nonprofit organizations will take lead on all financial duties in this organization and will work to guide the Finance and Bursary Committee directly. I will be the liaison between the accounting firm and the union to ensure ethical coherence. Their job will be to address the history of financial mismanagement, to outline and create transparency and accountable processes, help and guide the financial controller through implementing new financial processes, as it has been difficult for me to navigate the financial aspects of this union due to a high level of unresponsiveness. Fifthly, I will be bringing in a policy and governance coordinator who will work on amending the bylaws and policies all year long. I cannot achieve long-lasting change if I do not address the bylaws and policies. Their job will be to evaluate and reconcile conflicting policies and processes where electoral reform will be made a priority. They will provide governance recommendations in collaboration with legal counsel and look at the best practices in other nonprofits, especially student unions. Lastly, a new Gmail license will be purchased. The reasons for this being our need to rebrand and incorporate the TMSU acronym. This will be pending the renaming motion scheduled later in this meeting. We will also be prioritizing a new website and changing our email handles to show the new name. I have personally been experiencing security issues with my Gmail and have noticed that meetings and document details have been removed and changed without the owner's knowledge. I believe that each one of these components are vital in developing and reinforcing a safe culture that students can trust again. As the union should be putting the students' needs first and foremost, I have chosen to focus on making sure the student center and all its amenities is a place for students to turn to when they are in need. This was a daunting task when I first took office due to the flooding, and the Good Food Center has been cleared out, and this opens more room for reimagining. My plan is to create aisles in the Good Food Center where students can stop by and take what they like and make it way more accessible as they please. I want this to feel as natural as possible. I want it to feel as if you are going to a grocery store. In addition, the union previously had been working with a company called On Grocery, but Jay Metha, the GFC coordinator, has since informed me that we will be getting our supply from the Daily Bread. The TMSU storage room has also been cleared out, and the office space will be operational as soon as our furniture comes in. The spaces have been revamped with new carpets and fresh paints. And all executives and staff will be asked to work from their office and clock in beginning of June. I also encourage all board members to come by and work alongside your executive and your staff, because my goal moving forward is to connect with students through in-person engagement and student surveys to provide initiatives and opportunities that members in this organization would truly benefit from. I want to see tangible outcomes for what we do and the work we do here as a board. I will also be personally listening.
Yeah, we are just a little bit over the 2 to 3 minutes. I don't know how much longer.
Okay, I'm almost done.
Go for it. Yeah.
I will be listing the Lincoln Alexander School of Law to bylaw 6.3 to add a School of Law director. When I attended the February 28th board meeting of this year, it was said that the past president was actually in that meeting, and he was fighting for a seat because they pay the fees as well. And so we are taking their money and they are not being represented. This will be finalized in the next SAGM meeting. But I will be creating a law advisory seat that doesn't have voting power, but they're able to speak and have speaking privileges so that we can be in contact with the students that we represent. All done.
Thanks, Marina. So are there any questions arising out of the president's report? So I'm going to ask to avoid applause. I know that sometimes we want to give like applause, but my role as a chair is to make sure that we're having a discussion and not doing anything that is applauding, sadly. So is there any discussion or questions? Okay. So seeing none, we'll move to the VP operations.
Yep. Can you folks hear me? Yeah, I have a couple of updates for this.
Pilar, can you turn on your camera, please?
It's this one I turned, so I can't open the screen, the report. I just have one screen.
Sorry, no problem.
Yeah. If anything, I can twist my camera. I'm just sitting in Ryerson Library. Yeah, thank you. So my first report is for copyright. Copyright has been closed for the past 3 years. Right now, we're just working on the safety and safety standards and protocols. My aim is to open it within the next couple of weeks. This morning, again, I'm in contact with Ashley, the copyright manager. The good news is that now we have internet in copyright. So We're just left with a couple of steps, and hopefully in the next couple of weeks that will get started. The second update is on legal clinic. So as a student, I realized that if anyone is facing any legal issues or needs assistance with any litigation, like let's say you have a parking ticket or any civil cases, some international students might face problems in their study permit or visa problems. So for that, I'm currently working. I'll make a presentation. I'll take it to the exec team. After their approval, I'll bring it to the board. And my goal is to get this done by the end of July. It's just a soft deadline. I'm working on this. Let's see what happens. Third update is a tax clinic. So back in 2018, until 2018, they used to do something called the RSU, my bad, TMUSU used to do something called the tax cleaning, where the TMUSU would provide students. Thank you for correcting me, Marina, my bad. TMUSU. TMSU would we would offer students where the staff would be working, a team of staff would be working with volunteers of student, and we would help file taxes for students. Now, I don't know why that stopped, because it was something that was beneficial for all the students and it helped a lot of students. I'm working on it. I'm talking to the staff. I had a conversation with her. I'll also, again, I'll make a presentation. I'll take it to the exec team. I'll present. After the exec approval, I'll bring it up to the board. And one issue that we're facing, I really wanted to bring it up in front of the board, is the biggest flaw that I seen in TMSU right now is our services. So we provide a lot of services, like we do provide good services, but there's like a gap, a communication gap where students don't hear about it, like say your dental plan. So this year, I just found out that my doctor, I'm covered with 4 doctor notes till $100. This is something that I found out this year. I didn't knew about this for the past 2 years, and I was a director. So again, I was talking to VP Education about this, where our primary focus is to really, I would say, improve the communication gap between the TMU and the students. I was thinking I'll bring it up to the execs. We were working on some tabling sessions. I've seen other societies, as you walk in SLC, or if you're near Care Hall, other societies come up and they do actually promote their services. I never seen, unfortunately, I never seen the TMSU promote their services. So hopefully this year, I'm gonna be asking some directors to help us and some staff members, volunteers, so we can actually promote this. That's pretty much it.
Thanks a lot. So I'm going to ask if there's any questions. I see Shireen has their hand up.
Yes, hi. Thank you so much, Salar, for presentation. I do have a few questions. Actually, they're all related. So as a vice president operation, I know you're an assigning officer, and I was actually expecting a recommendation of the annual budget to the board or any financial report that you prepared.
So I'm not a signing officer yet, and I'll be preparing a budget when we have a budget committee. So the budget committee is just elected. So we're just gonna start working from today.
Doesn't the finance committee work on that?
Sorry, my finance committee, yes.
So sorry, so if you have follow-up questions, let's just put your hand up just so I can answer, and also, let's not interrupt, or like if you want to correct something, put your hand up. Shireen.
So we will have like budget reports next meeting, or do you think it's gonna be next month?
So Shireen, let me just, I'll go through it step by step. The finance committee has been elected. So I'll start working with the finance committee. We'll all reach out to each and every department. So like the Good Food Center, copyright, and events, everyone will get their reports. However, like whatever amount of money is required. And then we'll create a budget. That budget, when the finance and VP Ops and the president, when we approve it, we'll take it to the execs. So all the execs look into it. After all the execs approve it, we'll bring it up to the board, and all the directors would have the opportunity to vote on that.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you for those questions, Shireen. Any other questions for Salar? So seeing none, we'll move on to the VP Equity, Arisha. Arisha here? Okay. Yeah, you're muted still.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hi, everyone. Okay, I'm gonna start this with talking about renaming these centers. So as we all know that, the university will now be named Toronto Metropolitan University, which comes an exciting challenge for the equity service centers that now have to find a new name for the centers, specifically RI Pride and RI Access, which the centers are currently working on. And then, as you all know, that the Pride Month starts from tomorrow. So there are a couple of events lined up, and that will also be promoted on our social media. So I would encourage you all to please spread the word. And then if you guys could also come to the events, that would also be great. And then other than that, with the Center of Safer Sex and Sexual Violence Support, we have been working with TRCC to schedule a training for the supporting survivors of sexual violence and how to receive disclosure as well. This workshop is run by the Toronto Rape Crisis Center with support from the Center for Safer Sex and Sexual Violence Support. This will teach you what sexual and gender-based violence are and how to receive disclosure from the students, information about reporting both inside and outside the university, and what options are available for students who have experienced sexual violence in the next, and then also in the next day or two, I will also be sending an email to the board about it. And then one more thing, as we all know that the campus has been closed for 3 years. So I am currently working on a Good Food Center to make it up to health and safety codes and standards. For example, we need to deep clean the freezers that are already there, install security button, buy new freezers for halal, kosher meat, etc. But I am aiming to get this done in the next 3 to 4 weeks, and then hopefully in late summer we will be able to reopen GFC in person, just like how it used to be in person, right? And then lastly, and then all the centers are also working on making operations back to in person, and regularly we will also be making posts on our social media as well. One of the biggest plan for me is to promote all these centers, whether it's in-person traveling sessions or online through videos. So this is where I need all of us as board members to focus on. And then lastly, to end this with good news, I wanted to tell you guys that I'm also working on creating a new center for Indigenous society. And then in the next few days, you will be hearing more about this from me. I plan to work on the framework, figure out all the details, work with Indigenous groups on campus, and come back to the board with all the updates. I am being optimistic, but if the meetings get scheduled on time, then I would like to have this all done by in the next month, and then hopefully launching the center in July if everything goes well. And I guess that will be all from me for now. Thank you.
Thanks, Arisha. Any questions? So I'm not seeing any questions in chat. So we'll move on to VP Student Life, Mark.
Education. Said my name, right?
Oh, yes, sorry, I said your name. I think, I don't know if you're freezing for everyone else, but, oh, there you are. Go for it. You're up.
Okay.
So Art, do you have a comment or a question?
No. I was just gonna say Umar voice is cutting, so that's it.
Okay, so it wasn't just me. You're good now though, Umar.
It's good now? Okay. Hi, folks. My name is Umar. This year I've been elected as the Vice President for Education. I identify as he, him. I'm a civil engineering student. And yeah, I'll just get right to it. So some of my plans, I'll start with the TTC UPass. This is actually something that started in 2018 when a referendum was conducted at the university. And that is all public info. 14,000 students from Ryerson at the time, now TMU, voted on this. And they voted in favor of a monthly semester-wise pass from the Toronto Transit Commission because we have a lot of commuting students. So nominally, it will cost about $270 per semester per student, and it will provide unlimited TTC rights for the duration of the semester. And on average, for a 4-month semester for an average student with 23 working days per month, it would save them about $318 per semester if this gets implemented. Now, this is something that I'm discussing with the TTC. There was a legal hurdle before which caused the delay up until this day, but that passed. And so it's in the super preliminary stages at the moment. It's not in writing, but I am hopeful and optimistic, and I'm trying to make this reality in the coming September for the coming year. But if that does not happen, then unfortunately, the way this works is it would be pushed to next September. So you have my promise to work hard on this, but no guarantees, of course. Okay, so on to the next one. Now this one, I don't have a name for it yet. It's just a brainstorming thing, like in the thinking phase, it's an idea. I want to hear more from the board. And I'll go with it after. So it's the Make Course Materials Accessible campaign. And it is also in a thinking phase. So I will have the members and myself on the Student Action Committee reach out to vendors and book merchants to get discounts for students on mandatory course materials like books, online e-memberships, etc., etc. And I had plenty of these courses in my first 2 years where you'd have to buy this online membership for a book, and then it came with quizzes, and they would combine that and it would form a part of the final grade on the course. And I'd have to pay extra for that, so it didn't sit well. So hopefully we can get some discounts on that. And I will also get in contact with Sharp and Casio to get a discount in graphing and scientific calculators for a membership to make these tools accessible. As an example of how that would work is if I reach out to both and then I make a partnership or agreement or some kind of deal with one of them, then more students would buy their brand versus another one, and then they would in return offer a discount, so they get extra customers. That's kind of how that works. And yeah, but this whole thing is a stopgap measure. Long term, I aim to advocate the university to make all or most of these things free and actually accessible. So yeah, that's the second thing. Third one is a career blitz fair. I'm planning to get in it's a iffy name, but let's see. I'm planning to get in contact with the Career Center to hopefully set up some workshops for resume building, cover letter writing, and mock interviews. This will be a phase 1 of this part. It's a 2-phase plan, and phase 2, ideally, with help from all of the directors, not just the Student Action Committee. I want them to reach out to their faculties, set up polls, ask their students on top desired companies and firms that offer employment in their fields, and then we'll work on with these firms to get them to collaborate with the union and the University Career Center. And then they'll all get together, form some booths. We'll work on a time plan for this, and I'll have to work with Ozzy for this one. Looking forward to that. Hopefully we can make this happen, and then they can have open resume sessions where students can get internship and co-ops too, with the prerequisite skills already provided in phase 1 of the plan. And for this one, there was also this spin-off thing or splinter project. So I thought we'd do a different different phase where we will set up workshops that teach students specific software. Like for civil engineering, for me, there's AutoCAD, there's CATIA, there's SolidWorks for the aeronautical engineering kids, and there's plenty others like waste management for environmental engineering. And these softwares, we learn them in school, but it's just something that goes on the back of my degree, and no one really knows that I've learned that. So I'm trying to get in contact with the faculties once I hear good feedback and approval and everything. and I will contact the TAs to get them to do live lectures on Zoom. And those lectures will be more focused on certification. So they would teach you things that they could quiz you or test you on. And then we will assist you in obtaining a certification. The best part about these is you can advertise them on your LinkedIn profile, on your resumes. So if two people want to look for a job and all things considered, they're the same, and it comes down to choosing, you can get brownie points for having a certification on AutoCAD, or it could be something as simple as Excel. So, well, those are all of the plans that I have for now. And then also surveys, right? So for all sorts of campaign initiatives, surveys would have to be conducted to gauge student interest and opinion. And this way it will carry more weight. If I go to the university saying that we want to do these seminars, webinars, or learning sessions, they would give it more weight if I have a response from 5 or 10,000 students backing that up. So, and the RSU annual survey, it's something that the RSU conducts every year. So TMSU now. My goal is to do this in July and have everything ready for it prior to July, ideally in June, and I'll be able to present it to the board in June. I'll be getting in touch with the university to see if they would like me to add something on the survey, and we'll have more updates on this in a couple of weeks because the board meeting is soon. Yeah.
Thanks, Umar. So I see 3 people on the speakers list. I am also just conscious of time. So if we can keep the questions a bit tight and the answers tight as well, that'd be fantastic, but you have the floor, Success.
Okay, just a quick question about your plans for the TTC. I just wanted to know if you had a timeline for that and also about the legalities of that, because obviously that would be something that needs to go through like a budgeting process, and the budget is not too far away. So I wanted to know how far planned you're into that.
I'm sorry, can I have you repeat that? I didn't catch all of it, my bad.
So I just wanted you to talk about your plans with the TTC and the timeline that you have for that. It's based on like how soon you need to get the budget done, because that's going to require all that information by that time. So you know if that's if you have all that ready right now.
Okay, so timeline-wise, that rests solely on the university and the TTC. My job or my role would be more of a mediator in between the two parties. And then once it gets implemented, I don't believe that would have to go through the budget. The university would directly provide it to the students. So it'd be in the fee. So that's what I'm saying. I will try to get them to meet as soon as I can. I'll press them, emails on emails. And if they meet soon enough and if all the details are ironed out, because they're already there, like I said, from 2018, but then there was this huge pause because there was this, it's all public information, you can look into it, but there was this thing passed by the provincial government whereby students could opt out of things. And then the TTC suddenly didn't like that, because if everyone who uses it only opted for it, then they would be at a loss. The way this would work is if there's 100 students, 90 of them need the TTC pass and 10 of them don't, the other 10 would have to pay too because they can't opt out. So that way the TTC will not be at a loss, but like at university, all of the services offered, we don't all use them. So that's how that will go.
Success, do you have did I answer your question? Thank you. We have April next.
Okay, so I just wanted to speak on what you said about the certifications and things, because I guess this is where I come in being a TRSM student. I work for the Business Career Hub at TRSM, and what I do is teach other students and so that they can get certified in something and have a badge to put on their LinkedIn. So that does already exist. And we also already have a partnership with Microsoft for them to take exams and get a certification from Microsoft, and Power Platforms, I think, as well. So that does already exist for TRSM. So I definitely think that's a good idea, implementing in other ways for other what am I trying to say? Other programs and faculties. But yeah, I just heard you mention Excel, so I wanted to bring that up, that you know it does already exist.
Okay, yeah, no, thank you so much.
But that's
I
okay.
actually heard that you're done, right? Sorry.
Yeah,
I'm not cutting up. Okay, yeah, sorry. No, so yeah, I actually did see I saw the same thing from York, and my friend was telling me about it, and then I kind of felt left out. I know AutoCAD too, but I don't have a certification to show it.
Yeah.
So I'll try to work with Career Hub and get it all integrated for everyone. No one's left out. All
Yeah.
students, student union. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah.
Thanks for the comment, and April, and the answer, Umar. Shireen?
Yes, thank you so much, Umar, for presentation. I was wondering, in regards to educational issues and policies, as a VP Education, have you contacted the university in order to start the conversation in education purposes or anything like that? Have you did you arrange any meeting with someone from university?
Yes, so that's something that the university, they said Senate meetings for those, and we'll be discussing those there. I did get emails, it's in my calendar and it's on my plate, yes. And once I do meet, I'll promise to take notes and I'll present them to the board.
Thank you. Okay, so I'll take this last hand, Marina.
Sorry, Umar, who are you meeting with specifically?
So I'm not meeting with anyone specifically, it's a Senate meeting. And it's the whole board, and they will discuss issues of importance to students, and I'll take notes and I'll bring them back and update you.
Thanks, Umar. Okay, so and now we're on to the final executive, so I'll pass over to VP Student Life Policy.
I will try and make this as fast as possible. So I'll start with my roadmap. I like to think of the student union as a glass puzzle. I myself am trying to make sense of the fractured pieces of this glass puzzle, barehanded, basically. It is a glass puzzle that has been fractured to the point where one cannot describe it to be transparent, and too many pieces are missing for us to be satisfied with simply putting the puzzle back together to present to the student body. We won't be able to achieve our goals if we stay the same. What I mean by this is that change is inescapable. Things change all the time. However, transformational change is a conscious choice. It is one's choice to achieve transformational change by focusing all of one's energy on building the dream that one wishes to achieve on a foundation of lessons learned from a true, unbiased understanding of the past. This year, what I plan to transform, obviously with your help, is the amount of trust that the student body has in this union and the relationship we build internally as a board. Now, it's important for me to note that the way in which I plan to do this is by ensuring that we put out solid events and initiatives that meet student needs, reconnect and build student groups, and to ensure that we're putting student funds to good use. So with that said, we all know that trust is earned when actions meet words. And so I'd like to update you on what I've been up to for the past month. Essentially, I've set aside 15 major initiatives that I plan to achieve by the end of my term. I've met with board members to discuss their goals and what they believe the student body deems necessary or what they'd like to have in the upcoming year. I've been working with 3 directors on the Instagram page, and we have been answering student DMs, and the team has been cleaning out the page to make it look aesthetically pleasing for our student body. Thank you to those who did volunteer for that. I've been working on a deal with SPC for student discounts, which is to be discussed in our next board meeting. And I've been connecting with a few student groups while helping resolve their issues to the best of my abilities. My current abilities, obviously. I have started discussions with the events coordinator for Week of Welcome, and we are currently working on a rough budget to present to the finance committee so that they have something to work with when, setting the actual full budget. I've also started drawing up plans to propose for the redecorating of certain areas of the SCC and to promote it to become more welcoming and known to the student body. Moving forward, I will be assisting the president when looking to fill the course union rep and student group rep positions and holding those elections. As of June 2nd, I will be meeting with stakeholders for orientation, and I'm also looking forward to starting to work with the events committee and the student groups committee when it is formulated. So that concludes my executive update for now. If there are any specific questions, I'm happy to take them.
Again, going to ask for folks to avoid applause. I know how nice we want to be, but we're going to avoid that so that when conflict happens, we aren't applauding. But thank you for that report, Ozzy. Is there any questions? Okay, so seeing none, we're going to move to the I guess, what is it? The exception of the reports as presented. So I do need a seconder for this. A seconder.
Yeah,
I can second it.
Okay, so I saw a success first. Perfect. Is there any opposition to approving the reports as presented? So seeing none, that carries. We're going to move on to item number 7, staff reports. So I'm going to turn this over to Rihanna and Arjun.
Hi, Corey. I think that Harj wanted to present first. So Harj, you can go ahead if you still want to do that.
Sure, awesome. Hey everyone, it's Harj, a financial controller. It's nice to virtually meet everyone. And thank you for taking the time today to join this call. I really loved hearing about the executives initiatives, improving the university experience of students. And honestly, I'm really just looking forward to even the mentoring that I'm able to provide from my perspective to the new generation of leaders that we're working with. A little bit about myself and a little bit about my background. I graduated York University with a bachelor's in accounting and finance. Shortly after graduating, I knew that accounting was something that I was very passionate about. So I decided to pursue my master's of accounting and got my CPA designation. I have a plethora of experience. I come from a firm called PwC PricewaterhouseCoopers. And at PricewaterhouseCoopers, I worked in various different service lines. I worked in the core audit assurance line, risk advisory, assessment planning, valuations, and also have some experience with full cycle accounting. So some of my responsibilities that I've been helping out with when I joined TMSU was actually, one of the things was accounts receivable. So making sure that we're collecting our student levies, our sponsorships, our grants, making sure that we're getting our government rebates, helping out with accounts payable, so making sure that our vendors and merchants are getting paid on time. Government dues are huge, and we need to make sure that we're always in compliance with the Non-for-Profit Act, and making sure that we're in compliance with accounting standards and following the GAAP principles, helping out with filings and communicating with CRA. I've also been helping out with reconciliations, payroll processing through Ceridian and Dayforce. We also work very closely with the campus groups coordinator and making sure that tracking of expenses and revenues is accurate as possible, making sure payments to student groups, course unions, affiliate groups are made and remitted. Also help out with banking, setting up banking deposits for student groups, course unions, and helping them navigate their finance-oriented questions that may be a little more complex. Also assisting with the audit and leading the audit. As you all know, that we have to stay in compliance with the university's operating agreement and submitting the audit report for fall, so that we're not in breach of the agreement, and making sure that we're closing the books, as well as budget creation. Budget creation is huge for this summer, because before we can spend funds, we need to make sure that a budget is in place and it is approved by all individuals that are required to go through it, right? Budget is actually such a huge component, especially for every board member as well, because every person here has an impact on what goes into the budget, essentially. Budget is essentially help to design, to determine how much money an organization will earn during a particular period of time, planning how much money will be spent, saved, and borrowed. It's really important that we focus on the budget and setting this out and getting a holistic view of getting everyone's opinions of where funds should go. because it helps set the priorities of an organization, outlines anticipated spending and revenues, helps break down objectives and goals into actionable insights. And a great little process is to look at the prior year budget forecasts and figure out what initiatives the team really wants to bring forth in the coming year. I heard Ozzy mention that she has come up with 15 initiatives, which I'm really excited to see as well. And she's working with her events counterpart, I believe Rita, to focus on the finances associated with those events and initiatives. So that's very nice to see. And yeah, once the staff and executive consultations are done with, then we can allocate funding based on priorities in the consultations. Finance committee will go through and look through and approve it. Once that's set and done, then it'll be brought to the executives. Once the executives look through it, then it'll be brought to our board level. So that's kind of where we're at with the general budget process. But more than happy to help answer any questions with finances or anything like that. I'm always available over email or a call if need be. Thank you.
Thanks, Harsh. Appreciate the overview of the role, and I assume that folks have your contact information to follow up. Marina? Yeah.
Sorry, I noticed that Harsh mentioned that he was working on Dayforce, but from what I understand, Dayforce is to clock in and clock out, and we haven't been in office. So can you just clarify?
Yeah, so there's some employees that are still clocking in their vacation using Dayforce. So when
I've been told that that wasn't sufficient and it hasn't been working for that.
Yeah, we also manually track it, but Dayforce it was basically an application that was used prior to me even joining. So there were some employees that were still using Dayforce. So that's what that was for. But right now, Rihanna also keeps a manual tracker of individuals that go on sick days, vacation days, and stuff like that.
Thanks for that answer, Harsh. Okay, I see Shireen on the speakers list.
Thank you so much for the presentation. I just want to know, like, when do you think we will have the financial audit of last year? Like, do you have any timeline for that?
Yeah, so the auditors are going to start working this month on performing the audit. Once the audit is completed, they'll obviously have the results by fall 2021. So they need to present. So as part of our operating agreement, we have 180 days to present the results to the university. So by fall 2021, fall 2022.
Thank you for answering that important question. Marina.
I've been being told that we were closing the books and in the process of for some time now.
Yeah.
And, that's why I'm a little confused as to why Harsh is saying that we are about to start that process. And from what I understand, these audit reports aren't done until February of the year. So I don't believe it will be done anytime soon. And, I've been told that you've been working on this for a while now. So I'm just a little confused.
So, Marina, I'm going to suggest, because I think it's getting into a bit about what Harsh's job is, that maybe this be taken a bit offline. I think the point that you're making is that there's might be some concerns about meeting audit timelines and maybe concerns in the past, and just to avoid talking about any type of HR issues or concerns that might be perceived by different ways at the board, I'm going to encourage that maybe to be offline, but noting your point. Is that fair?
Okay, thank you, Corey.
Thank you. Harsh, did you want to respond to any of that? Don't feel pressured to.
Yeah, for sure. So student groups, right? They have 30 days from year end to essentially submit any check requisitions or stuff like that. So because they have a 30-day deadline, all accounts are not closed in time. And then once accounts are closed, we work with the auditors, and they are aware of our deadlines. So I have no worries or no concerns that the audit will be done in a timely manner.
Thanks, Harsh. Any other questions? Okay, thank you. So I'm going to pass it over to Rihanna.
Hi, everyone. Okay, so I guess I really haven't gotten to introduce myself. seeing that the last board meeting was a legal training. I know when we had the informal board meeting, I did a little bit of that, but just to reiterate really quickly, hi, my name is Rihanna Maharaj. I have been working for the RSU, now TMSU or TMUSU, depending on the next motion, since 2014, 2013, 2014, that academic year. I've had the pleasure to work in almost all of the departments, which is what led me to apply for the ED job in 2019, which I was able to get, which is great. I'm just going to give you a brief overview of not of my job, but things that I've been working on. Of course, if you have any questions about what my job responsibilities are or anything like that, I'd be happy to provide you with that at a later time. I just want to briefly go over some of the things I've been working on since we're pretty much out of time. So some of the more pressing matters that I've been working on are renewing our insurance forms. Of course, we cannot be a nonprofit organization without all of our proper insurance policies in place. So just going through policies for D&O, directors and officers, commercial general liability, property insurance, crime insurance, fraud insurance. I've also been going through some of our ongoing legal matters, which I know all of you were briefed on. We have 2 ongoing legal matters working with Alexi's firm, St. Lawrence Barristers. Of course, we're not in camera, so I'm not going to give you a detailed update about that, but we are moving on that front for one of the matters that were discussed during our legal training. As Harj mentioned, I've also been working with the campus groups coordinator to sort out some of the student group and course union funding. Of course, there are some payments, the deadline did pass, but there are still some outstanding payments or late payments, things like that. So I have been working on helping reconcile those, as well as provide some more clarification, because our campus group coordinator is fairly new to the position. So prior to that, I was doing all of the day-to-day communications for the campus group coordinator, as well as intake of any sponsorship applications for both student groups, course unions, and affiliate groups. So just making sure that all of the funding that was previously approved by the committee and the executives are all going out right now, so that we can, put a hard deadline, a hard stop on issuing those payments. As Marina mentioned, we also did a huge clean out of the Good Food Center copyright. We did a great big clean out of that, I think like last week of April, moving into May, as well as the RSU storage room clean out. In terms of moving forward with copyright. So copyright was renovated. There were quite a few issues, I guess you could say, that came with the renovation. One of them was that we were just getting all of the computers up and running and installed, only to find out that during the renovation, all of the cabling for the network was completely cut off about 20 feet in. So I put in a request, I got all that got fixed yesterday. Just patching some ports and for the printers there. So tomorrow a technician will come in and we'll be working on getting all of those up on the network. And then we will start on fixing everything on the back end in terms of receiving payment for copyright through Sage, making sure it's linked to our bank account correctly, uploading inventory, which our copyright manager has been working on. And then lastly, just ensuring that all of the malware, software, printer drivers, processing systems, everything like that is installed on those computers. We also are looking to just get some minor repairs done in copyright, some things that were initially removed for the renovation, like the work table, the guillotine needs to be serviced, removal of shelves, installation of wide format printers, things like that. I've also been working on the monthly visa reconciliation, just so everybody knows and is aware of it. The RSU corporate credit card is in the Ryerson Students Union's name. I am the card holder for the visa, and I hold that and I approve all expenses and review all payments for that. So I've been doing that monthly. Also just working with Lastman Studios for grad photos to make sure that all of that information is updated, making sure that that the university and what is printed on the class composites kind of match in terms of names, emblems, things like that, just so it's uniform. and collecting HR materials for all new staff, the execs, collecting all of the tax forms, code of ethics, and NDAs that all you board of directors has submitted for me, and as well as doing the New Year reconciliation, since our fiscal year starts May 1st, accrual of carryovers of vacations, sick days, overtime, and things like that. I'm happy to answer any questions. If you have a bigger question, you can feel free to email it to me and we can do a brief one-on-one.
Thanks, Rihanna. Is there any questions? Okay, so seeing none, we're going to move on to item number 8, so the renaming. So we do have a motion here, and again, I'm looking at the time and I've realized a couple of the board members had to leave. We still have quorum, but just let's keep in context the time. Also, some of the staff here have been taking minutes for 2 hours now, so it takes a bit of a toll. So I have the motion, be it resolved that the organization use the name Toronto Metropolitan Students Union for the purposes of social media presence, event posters, etc., but refrain from legally changing the name of the organization until the committee can make a final recommendation. This is moved by Marina. I do need a seconder.
I'll second.
All right, thank you. Marina, did you want to motivate? Oh, you're muted, Marina.
Sorry.
First time after 2 hours, that's a record. You're good.
So the university has launched its new name, and many of our student-owned student groups have already renamed themselves to reflect the name change. In addition to the renaming motion, I would like to announce that we will be encouraging students to submit logos for the new TMSU union, and all submissions will be displayed at an art event similar to a gallery for all students to see.
Marina, is there any discussion on this motion around renaming? Okay. Certainly going to be a new acronym to pronounce, but I think you can all get through it. So we're going to move to a vote. Is there any opposition to this motion? Okay, so that carries. We're now on to item number 9, future meetings. So be it resolved that the board of directors meet on the second Friday of every month during working hours beginning from this week. That's moved by Marina. I do need a seconder. Okay, Risa, let me know if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. Risa. Okay. Marina, did you want to motivate?
Yep, so I have indicated prior to the board that we will be having our board meeting at a set date and time. For now, it has been decided that it will be on the second Friday of each month. And this is to ensure that all board members can make the appropriate accommodations in advance to allow them to make it to the meeting. I do want as many board members to attend the meetings as possible.
Is there any discussion? So one thing I do want to just add to this, just around your bylaws. So you folks do have a 5-day notice period required. So this is notice for the remainder of the meeting. So you've been given notice, and agendas and items will be submitted 5 days in advance. So if you want to have something added to the agenda, aim to get that to whoever is compiling the agenda, which I think is Marina, 5 days in advance, so that we can meet those deadlines. And because this is the first meeting, I think it was a lot to kind of put together and figure out what to prioritize, because you folks had so much to do. But in the future, we're really going to try to stick with that notice so that all the board members can be informed about the motions, the media can be informed, and the campus community as well. April.
Is there a time, like, is it always going to be at 1 p.m. or?
So I did say before that it was going to be 1 p.m., but I am only going to say for now that it is going to be during working hours. So anytime from until 6 p.m. So I'm just going to try to choose a time that's like best for all of us.
Yeah, that sounds good, because usually I work evenings, so I just was like, if it's
okay, yeah, so
to make it.
Yeah, we can definitely stick to the 1 p.m. if that works.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Thanks for the question, April. Okay, so seeing no other discussion, we'll move to a vote. Is there any opposition to this motion? Seeing none, that carries. And we're now on to budget timeline and overview. So I'm not sure who is speaking to this.
I will.
Marina, perfect, thank you.
Yep. So as I mentioned before, the Finance Committee and the Bursary Committee will work in connection with the accounting firm that will be hired and alongside the financial controller. They will be taking lead on the budget planning, and I will oversee all the steps in the process to ensure members' money is allocated in the best way.
Thanks, Marina. Yeah, I know that we've heard a lot about the budget process throughout this meeting, so there's a lot that comes into that, and I think that the board really appreciates hearing the update and that prioritization. Is there any other discussion? Seeing none, there's no vote on this, so we're into item 11, adjournment. So this is one that doesn't have a mover, so if someone wants to move and second adjourning the meeting. Or we can keep sitting here. Success, you're moving it. Thank you. And seconder.
I'll second.
Ozzy, thank you. Okay, so if there's no opposition, we will adjourn the meeting at 3:14 p.m. Thank you all. This has been a really productive meeting on a very hot day. So appreciate all of your efforts to be with us.
Yes, thank you everyone for making it. I know it was short notice because of the rescheduling, but thank you so much for making this work. I know some of you guys are even at work, so thank you. I think it was a great meeting.